Swift, powerful, and agile, these young ladies training for ninjutsu never expected to be described as, quote, assassins when they opened their doors to Reuters news agency. Proud of having mastered one of the most difficult martial arts, they talked to the reporter about the sport that had become their passion. But at the end of the interview, they were surprised to be asked a question rather irrelevant to what they'd been discussing.
She asked me whether or not I would defend my homeland should it be attacked by Israel or the US. I think it's obvious that not only any Iranian would do so, but anybody else in any country would defend their homeland.
And on February 16th, when the report by Reuters was published, they definitely did not expect to be described as killers.
We are simply athletes interested in martial arts, that's all. We really enjoy this sport. I have a grievance against those who have portrayed us as something we're not. I demand that they tell people the truth about us.
We contacted Reuters' Tehran office, but they refused to comment. On February 26, Reuters posted an advisory with some corrections made. The alterations, however, do not change the spin put on the story, as most of the text remains the same. Meanwhile, for anyone who might drop by at the Ninja Club to see for themselves, the Reuters report is clearly misleading.
I love martial arts and I've tried a couple of them before, but I find ninjutsu to be a sport with more variety in it.
I had a baby about a year ago and this sport helped me get back in shape.
I'm taking English courses now and I'm also preparing myself for college.
How effective a tardy correction by Reuters may be in order to undo the damage remains a question. But as far as these women are concerned, this is more than just a simple bad choice of words. They have been portrayed as something they're not, and they're very upset about it. Yusuf Ahmadi, Press TV, Tehran.
We don't need to go to war, and we have to make that very clear to our Israeli friends. We're not going to go to war. They're not going to go to war by flying over our airspace over Iraq. We're not going to support them. If they do it, they will be on their own. The consequences will be theirs, because the price we'll all pay if they start a massive war, which the Iranians interpret as being done with our connivance, will be disastrous for us in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in the terms of oil, stability in the Middle East more generally.
Here's the words that come out of his mouth, magic words. And if I have to, I'm prepared to bomb them. Never said that. He's never said, I will put, this is like euphemism.
Options on the table.
Option on the table. You can't say the word bomb them. We need a president who can say the words bomb them and actually can do it if he has to in order to protect us from Iran becoming a nuclear power. And most importantly, they have to believe that our president will do that to them. All of a sudden, that will change. We are the largest military in the entire world.
Yes.
They are a small, tiny little military power compared to us. It is ridiculous that they're pushing us around this way.
Hi, my name is Ayman. As the electoral campaign starts in the United States, it started some time ago, we noticed here in Tunisia that most of the candidates from both sides run towards the Zionist lobbies to gain their support in the States. And afterwards, once they are elected, they come to show their supports like for countries like Tunisia and Egypt. For a common Tunisian or a common Arab citizen, how would you reassure and gain his trust again once, given the fact that you're supporting his enemy as well at the same time?
Well, first let me say, you will learn as your democracy develops that a lot of things are said in political campaigns that should not bear a lot of attention. There are comments made that certainly don't reflect the United States, don't reflect our foreign policy, don't reflect who we are as a people. I mean, if you go to the United States, you see mosques everywhere, you see Muslim Americans everywhere. That's the fact. So I would not pay attention to the rhetoric. Secondly, I would say, watch what President Obama says and does. He's our president. He represents all of the United States, and he will be reelected president. So
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, February 27th, 2012, and I'm Darko. GGNonline.com is my website, and on YouTube, DDarko 2012 and 2013. So there you go, folks. There, you just saw it. She just dodged the question as far as her and Obama and all them basically on board with the little, I guess you could say, this Zionist agenda, but I don't ultimately think it's a Zionist agenda. I just think that it's a small group of Jews that are manipulating the majority of Jews who are just good people and want to work hard and be left alone. So, you know, and also Israel, I think, is going to be possibly wiped off the map, but I don't think it may not be in the way that we think, and I think that the, quote, Illuminati who created it will also destroy it. So that's the only reason why I think it will be destroyed, because they created it and they destroy what they create, and they make something far, far worse afterwards. So you just saw her kind of scary. Besides dodging the question, was what? It was Obama will be the next president, and that seems to be on the docket. Over the past couple of years, we've kind of mulled it over. What is it going to be? Who's going to be the next president? But you know, it really seems like it's not going to be the first woman. It's not going to be a military general. It looks like it's going to be another 4 years of Obama. And herself right there, she's going to be actually possibly the new head of the World Bank. So she's moving up. So she says that there may be some credence to it. Then Rudy Giuliani saying, you know, basically admitting that Iran is not a threat to us, and then says, and then they're trying to intimidate us, the United States. It's like, oh man, ay. But the elites, the global elites, they try to sell him to, and the people didn't buy into it. So I think, you know, now looking back, I start to wonder why Ron Paul is out there. Why is he having a, quote, chance? And I'm like, well, because it's Santorum and Romney and Gingrich. I mean, these guys, I know that the elites understand it. Those guys aren't going to win, most likely, right? One of them may win, but for the most part, it's to get Obama back in the White House. They figure that, hey, they're not going to get anybody from the right, and they're not going to get their first woman. They're not going to get their military general. So let's just go with Obama again. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing with Santorum and Gingrich and Romney. They're just basically there to take away any you know, speaking time and that from Ron Paul. But I still remember the quote by Ron Paul within the past couple months where he said he would actually attack Iran possibly if Israel was attacked, so and back up Israel. So I'll never forget that. Okay, so I got a lot to cover in this last video, so just stick with me. Israel Kurdish fighters destroyed Iran nuclear facility. That's right. Email released by WikiLeaks claims an exchange released by a website worker at Stratford intelligence firm doubts validity of a source claiming an Israeli ground force had already wiped out Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Obama faces tense meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu on Iran policy, so he's going to go over there, and maybe Obama will be like, oh, you don't want to attack Iran, wink, 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 but we got your back, as he's nudging him with his elbow. French, and of course, you're going to have all the banks and the defense contractors around them. It says here, French university cancels event on global boycott of Israel. University of Paris 8 has canceled an anti-Israeli conference in the French capital despite its initial approval of the academic gathering. The statement was made, or the cancellation was made, due to, quote, highly polemic nature, end quote, of the conference, which could have led to, quote, disturbances to the public order, end quote. U.S. armed Israel for Iran attack. The U.S. has provided Israel with military technology and arms to aid Tel Aviv in a possible attack against Iran nuclear facilities, a prominent American journalist said. Then we have Iran military strike will lead to collapse of Israel. That's what the Iranian defense minister says. He says Israel is on the verge of dissolution and that a military strike would lead to the collapse of the Jewish state, according to state-run TV. And remember what Giuliani said. He didn't say that they were a threat, Iran. He said that they were that them having nuclear weapons was a threat to us. We must go on and preemptively attack them. That's very scary ideology. Israeli attack on Iran might pull U.S. into new war. So this is going through the AP, February 25th. This is just for the sheeple. And Israeli, they're just getting it in the mind. They're conditioning the public for this, who are going to be ready on board for it, because, you know, it's like, just like back in the late 90s, and when I was in the military, everybody's like, yeah, we could use a war, you know, and then voila, it came, right? And an Israeli preemptive attack on Iran's nuclear site could draw the U.S. into a new Mideast conflict, prospect dreaded by a war-weary Pentagon. Yeah, right. Where you have new entanglements. Yeah, the entanglements usually go to Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Goldman Sachs and the Federal Reserve System, right? Yeah. Russia warns Israel not to attack Iran. Then what do? Russian bombers over Black Sea alert Bulgarian, Turkish air forces. I remember Zbigniew Brzezinski in that last set of videos that I posted on Friday saying that Turkey would be pulled into it and along with Russia would be drawn into it. And those are words, special words that he uses. In other words, they want Turkey to be pro-West, and that's exactly what they're getting. And in messing around in Central Asia, they're going to draw in Russia, who's going to want to basically not give up their little post-Soviet bloc countries like Azerbaijan and them. Which makes sense because this is a new article. Just pay attention to these Central Asian countries because they're going to be coming in the news more and more. Israel inks $1.6 billion arms deal with Azerbaijan. It goes on and says they're going to sell drones, so drones as well as anti-aircraft and missile defense systems to Azerbaijan, then Baku, Azerbaijan to improve ties with NATO. Then moving on to some Syrian news. Remember Russian bombers over the Black Sea. Russia upgrades Syria-based electronic station to warn Iran of U.S.-Israeli attack. They've upgraded their electronic and surveillance station south of Damascus, opposite of Israel's Sea of Galilee, adding resources especially tailored to give Tehran an early warning of oncoming U.S. or Israeli attack, U.S. military sources reported. Then we have U.S. to announce aerial blockade on Syria. Oh, so here we go. There's the humanitarian corridor. U.S. readies for possibility of intervention without UN resolution, citing U.S. military official plan to include humanitarian aid to Syrian refugees on Turkey's border. Now, that's how they're going to be able to do this, too. It's all based off Turkey, which is what? Refugees coming through the border is going to be like a loophole for them to be able to go into Syria militarily. Remember that? I covered that about a week or 2 weeks ago. Then we have exclusive State Department quietly warning region on Syrian weapons of mass destruction. The State Department has begun coordinating with Syria's neighbors to prepare for the handling of Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria's extensive weapons of mass destruction if and when his regime collapses. It says the U.S. is developing plans to deal with the dangers of a post-Assad Syria. Well, I'm sure they are. It's, if you're going to plan the takedown, you're going to have to plan the post-Syria. Syrian opposition warns outside military intervention may be the only solution to the crisis. The U.S. is fighting on the same side as three terrorist groups in Syria, Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, and Hamas. That's right. But we're going to impose, quote, democracy, right, like we have in the United States. Ankara can play a key role in military intervention in Syria. That's right. So Turkey is going to be a big player in Syria, like I said. Check out the links. They should be posted. In the second video, I lost them. I actually did lose them to a technological glitch. So, you like that? Qatar Prime Minister calls for arming Syrian rebels. So again, just like Hillary Clinton, maybe they didn't get the memo that they're already armed. Most Syrians voted for new constitution, says the minister. 90% have said yes to the country's new constitution, but it doesn't really matter because what? EU imposes new sanctions on Syria regime. That's right, so the EU impose new sanctions in hopes of pressuring the regime to change course. Jolie has been conscripted to sell genocidal humanitarian intervention war doctrine. Something I didn't know. Besides, I did know she's a goodwill ambassador to the UN, but she's a member of the CFR. Remember what I was saying about states being, countries being kind of pushed and pulled in between, in the middle here. And remember India, as far as the oil, but they're going to stick with Iran crude. So India to continue buying Iranian crude after the U.S. basically said, you're going to buy our oil. Then to Afghanistan, UN pulls some staff after Afghan siege over Quran burning. If Karzai doesn't feel like apologizing, we should say goodbye and good luck, says Gunn. Talking about Obama, he's consistently apologizing to people who do not deserve the apology of the President of the United States. So, Santorum demands Afghan apology for Quran burning reactions. Big joke, big game, right? Big show. So just like the CIA attack, right? Afghan policemen suspect in killing of U.S. officer sources. So another false flag. To do what? Afghan handover plan roiled. Ooh. The U.S. shouldn't speed up Afghan pullout after all. DHS is paying a defense contractor to scour the internet for criticism of its policies. That's right, they have a list. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but pressure builds to open the U.S. sky to civilian drone flights despite safety and privacy concerns. Texas City SWAT learns new lessons at an old tore-down high school. Offered him the opportunity to train in a true urban tactical environment, i.e. a school. Former father arrested after daughter draws a picture of a gun at school. Thank you.